Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your businesses to meet with us today for your Communications 101 workshop for business events. I'll just quickly run through an agenda for today. So we're going to do a quick introduction of who's chatting and I guess what we're chatting about. A recap on business events. So this has been a 5-part workshop series. So just a recap on what's led us here to today. Then I'm going to hand over to Shawn to go over LinkedIn and EDMs. Before we kick off, though, I do want to pay my respects to the traditional landowners, all those past, present, and emerging. So for those that don't know me, and we do have some new people online today that haven't been part of the workshop series, my name is Gabs from Gift of the Gab Consulting. I do a fair bit of work with Tourism Top End, and I also work in collaboration with the team at NT Business Events, or NTBE, a fair bit. I facilitated and delivered this 5-part workshop series all about helping businesses develop in that business events space. And we've just completed our one-on-one mentorship where there's quite a few businesses we're really excited to see grow in the business events sphere. Also in the room with me today, we do have VJ and Joanna from NT Business Events. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them through the chat. We've also got Gemma in the room who's going to be monitoring the chat for us. And then, sorry, I'm just going to hit OK. So this session can be recorded. And then we've got Shawn Fernandes here sitting beside me, who is going to be talking about LinkedIn and EDMs. We've also got a few operators in the room. So if we do throw any questions to the room, you might hear them chatting back to us. I do also want to acknowledge that we've got businesses from all different stages on their business events journey. For those who have been here with us throughout the whole workshop series, hopefully you'll have a lot of, either light bulb moments or a really good refresher on what business events is. And then for those that are new, hopefully you'll take a fair bit away from this session. So what better way to get started? Sorry, actually, we've just got a chat in there. Jem, did you want to just double check what that was? Or is that a good question? Cool. While she's checking that.
It's the intro.
Oh, perfect. So what better way to get started than to go through what is business events? So I'm not going to read this all out, but we'll definitely send out some information after today's session going through this exact definition of what a business event is in accordance with the Australian Business Events Association. To put it simply, a business event is gathering for a vocational purpose. So that's for essentially a corporate reason behind coming together. Just to really distinguish the difference between a function and a business event. So a function might be something like a wedding or a birthday or a hands bucks, etc. So we would not consider those to be a business event. So it's really got to be something that comes back to that corporate purpose. So this is just a good example and a hot tip if you are looking to develop your online presence of a way that you could, for example, say that you do venue hire, but then also have a drop down on your own website to potentially say something like corporate programs or business events. So why are business events so important to us in the Northern Territory? So first of all, business events helps us attract what we would call clients who bring in these large groups to the Northern Territory. The way that we, and not just us, any destination around Australia would attract a client is by putting together a quality program, putting forward a desirable destination, and ensuring that any guest travelling for that business event knows that they have the ability to extend. So we're all here today looking to develop more businesses in this space because a healthy amount of product, i.e. a quality program, will help attract more clients to our destination. Of course, more products also showcase the versatility and unique selling points of our destination, and the ability to extend increases attendance to a business event, because these potential guests, often they're traveling to a destination they don't always get to visit. So they'll tap on generally a couple of days pre or post. That increase of attendance to this business event means that chances are it's going to increase excitement to come. It'll increase positive feedback. And for that client, it builds their trust in that destination. But to dig a little bit further as to why business events is so important to us, I think we all like the idea of money and building revenue for your business, but also revenue for the destination. So the team here at NTB, they've got a really tough and fun gig of trying to hit the goal of reaching $68 million in their financial year by 2030. Very excited as we're coming close to see what they've done for 2023, 2024. In the last financial year, they hit 49 million in revenue. And this is all to have a ripple effect to support the local cafes and retailers while these guests are in town. Because what we find with business events, even though they're here for about 3 to 4 days on average, it is a high return on investment for the destination. And of course, you guys are here because you want to have a piece of that pie as well. So when we talk about these clients and who ideally are going to be the key markets that you will target as part of what you're going to learn from Shawn today. So we break business events down into the who into 3 separate categories. So our industry suppliers, so that's all you guys online and those in the room, to make sure that we have a healthy level of product to offer the clients. The clients, otherwise known as the decision makers, and I know we've got a few decision makers or clients on the phone on the workshop today, so thank you guys for joining us as well. I won't go through who's who in the Zoo for the decision makers, but I'll send through a list of who they are and definitions. It's just probably a good idea to understand that your decision makers can work internally for an organisation. So that's someone who would be employed full-time to create and organise these events, not just nationally, but also internationally. And then you have companies like your professional conference organisers who will be contacted by particular organisations, as an example, to say, hey, we have a couple of destinations in mind, seek out this itinerary, see what that looks like, and then they'll come back to that decision maker to say, here's what we've got installed for you. And then we've got the third part, which is the government body. So that's our team here at NTB that put themselves front-facing in front of these decision makers. They work with you guys, the suppliers, to make sure that we have that product. And they're the ones who really put the destination forward. And the way they do that is by, first and foremost, putting forward our unique proposition, which our 3 key elements to sell the Northern Territory. And of course, there are so many more behind this, but the 3 factors that will come in with first and foremost is that we've got enriching Aboriginal experiences, iconic landscapes, and nature-based experiences. So they're our top 3 things. And then, of course, this filters out into so many more wonderful, unique angles that we can sell from the Northern Territory, including things like our beautiful weather and our quirky personality that showcases through a lot of products. When we're in a position that we're in competition with another destination, the team will also step in with this competitive edge called the bid fund. So say we've got a client that are weighing up whether they come to the Northern Territory or to, for example, Western Australia. Ideally, what will happen in this scenario is that decision maker will be connected with the team at NTB. Often these decision makers could reach out to you guys direct and totally bypass the team at NTB. if you're having that conversation with them and you know they're trying to decide whether they come to your experience, or you could be in competition with another destination, make sure you get them in contact with the team at NTBE, because these guys might be able to put forward what's called the bid fund. So, for example, that could be $100 per guest in order to help with that conversion. So we see this as a reinvestment into the destination, and a lot of the times this reinvestment will help convert that business event coming to the Northern Territory. So last year, these guys did an incredible job. They had 77 business events convert, and that's just the ones they know about, because there were quite a few other business events that still came to destination that did support the Northern Territory that were still not fully across. So now that we know that clients could be interested in coming to the Northern Territory, how do the clients find out about the NT? So the team at NT Business Events, and also this is open, a lot of these trade events for individual businesses to attend. Trade shows, and the most popular one that would probably relate to most people in the room and online is AIM, which happens in Melbourne in February, early February. These events really help with lead generation. They help you to establish or strengthen a relationship with a decision maker, and it allows you to collect information, which will relate to the second part of this workshop once again, in creating your contacts via LinkedIn, creating those contacts to keep connecting with via your EDMs. Clients will also be directed to have a look at the products that exist on their supplier page with NT Business Events. So it really is a great free platform. I just want to reiterate the fact that not every business will qualify to be a business event. We will, of course, share all the workshops that have been recorded as part of this workshop series. If you're still not sure where your product sits, please refer back to the workshop about product development for business events. But it is a great platform for you to be able to put your experience forward. My hot tips, if you're going to put your business forward, make sure you start your bio with a bit of a punch so it relates back to business events, and make sure your images, which we'll touch on a little bit more, relate back to business events once again. So they've gone to the trade shows, they've met new potential clients. These clients have expressed interest by potentially jumping onto NTB's website, having a look at products that we have, maybe potentially applying for the bid fund. For a lot of these guys, if they're still in a decision-making process, we may bring them on a familiarization, otherwise known as a FAMIL, or a site inspection. So a FAMIL is generally organised by the team at NTB or a shareholder or stakeholder. This is the opportunity for your business, if you're part of that FAMIL, to showcase what you can do for that potential client. And it also gives the client the great understanding of what the destination can offer, and really link it up with the right experience coming to the Northern Territory. A site inspection is for someone who's a little bit further on in their decision-making process. Often they'll know that the territory is where they want to hold their event, but they want to get a really good feel for what they should include as that itinerary. So a site inspection is almost like putting together the pieces of the puzzle. Joanna, who's in the room with us here today, she predominantly looks after both the supply page and site inspections. So if you get the opportunity to put yourself in front of these clients, whether it be by a trade show or meeting them at a networking event in destination, here's some tips for connecting with these guys. So language-wise, and I'll share the document as well, this document after the workshop today, it's just making sure that you're using the appropriate language for business events. We are working with a corporate market here, so I know we love to be a little bit, what's the right word? I can't think of the word, but we like to slang. Yeah, we like to have our slang laid back. That's it. So it's often just ensuring that we're using the right terms and knowing how to talk to a domestic market versus an international market. And then these are some of the images that we want to make sure we're including when you are, especially presenting via EDMs and your LinkedIn profiles, especially if you are targeting that business events audience. It's making sure we're steering clear of images that would attract the FIT, to free independent traveler market versus, or your leisure market versus those corporate markets. So making sure the images are reflective of that event. And if you do have the opportunity to host, or if you are going to a trade show and you know what your program looks like and who you're going to meet, prior preparation prevents poor performance. So do a bit of research, see if you can find out a little bit more about the person that you're meeting with, the client that you're meeting with. This could help you have some conversations to dig a little deeper to understand exactly what they're looking for. And you could have gone in with a particular way to approach that client. When you do that research, you'll find that you might need to pivot a little bit more so your business is tailored to what they're looking for. First impressions really do matter. So if you are hosting a familial or a site inspection, not just yourself, make sure your whole team are aware that this client is coming in. It might take someone that's part of your team to potentially turn away that client, because this client is always putting themselves in the customer's shoes and understanding what that experience might feel like. So if they're not getting the best customer service in that first impression, that could be the thing that could affect the conversion. Put forward your unique selling points. What separates you from your competition? And that could be competition in destination. When it comes to unique selling points, it's really about what you can offer. Really, even though no one on this workshop today does this, I think it's just really important to make sure that unique selling points also go for the destination. So even though you may not win this client on this particular occasion that could be coming up, they could think about you down the track. So it's also big upping the destination, because sometimes if you do put a competitor down, then these clients will remember that down the track. So making sure that we're always speaking in a positive manner about the destination, because it may not be about the next business events, but it could be about the next business event. Effective communication, of course, is so key when you're hosting. Asking those questions, finding out a little bit more. That could be your opportunity while you have that person then in there in front of you to find out if there's something that they could be sitting on the fence with, because it'll give you that opportunity to work on fixing that for that client. And, of course, that will speak volumes to the client and could help you with that conversion as well. And your follow-up is key. If you don't have the ability to write an email to these guys, maybe it's going back through the team at NT Business Events that follows up with that decision maker, making sure the team at NTB know about some of the conversations that you've had, and then sending through your functions package. Maybe there's personal tips that you wanted to add from conversations that you had, or it could even be passing on your details so you guys can start connecting. But probably the biggest hot tip that relates back to this session today, if you get the opportunity whilst you are in front of that potential decision maker, I would have your account set up and ready, because LinkedIn is king for connecting with the business event space. So I would have your account set up and ready and your QR code ready to go, especially because a lot of the times when you're networking with these people, you have a short window of time to make that connection and put yourself forward. So this simple tip of having your QR code ready, getting them to connect via your QR code. You could have that on your phone, you could have it on a name tag, badge, whatever your method is. Have that QR code ready to connect in with your LinkedIn, so that way you guys are connected. And for any event that you could host, whether it be via Famil, whether that's going to a trade show like AIM, whether that's even going to a networking event that relates to the business event space, you would then jump onto your account with LinkedIn, post that event that you've been at, and then ideally tag, which Shawn's going to go into in 2 seconds, tag those people that you've connected with. This is a free marketing service, and it is the best way to connect in with these decision makers. The ripple effect here is there could be a decision maker that's connected with another decision maker that didn't get to go to that networking event. And they'll be able to see the photos that you post, the people that you've connected with, and this could spark interest for them as well. So LinkedIn is a really wonderful way for you to showcase your product, for you to build your relationships in this space. And you would do as many posts as possible, regular posts, in order to keep connecting into this sphere. So before I do pass it over to Shawn to do the deep dive into the world of LinkedIn, did we have any questions about the business event sphere, how we get to this space, how to connect, the importance of networking, anything online or in the room, or even feedback from the team at NTBE? Yes, Noni, great. Yes, we've got one question in the room from the RFDS.
Thanks for that. With the QR code, would that be my personal LinkedIn or like the tourist facility, or both?
I would do both if you had both. Yeah, because if that's possible, you would do your post via the business.
Yeah.
And then you would tag yourself as well within that post. So that way your networks also know. Because then that has the ripple effect of, you know, we're such a community in the Northern Territory. So we would be able to see your friends and other contacts on LinkedIn would be able to see the work that you guys are doing. Because even though with business events, these guys at the team at NTBE, and probably I should bring that back up, is the bid fund is for interstate and internationally only. It doesn't account for intra-territory. So this could still be really good from an intra-territory perspective, could still be really good for your contacts to see what you guys do, and they could come to you guys and want to set up their next business events from intra-territory, interstate and international perspective.
Thank you very much.
Awesome question. Cool. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to hand over to Shawn.
Thank you. So I think an introduction to this would be that Gabs has covered how the business events industry works, how it's structured, who the key players are that you need to get in touch with, what you need to do to build and develop your product for business events, and what you need to say and how you need to pitch your product. Now, LinkedIn is the way to do that. It's the way to get your message across. It's the way for you to join the conversation, and specifically the digital conversation with these people. LinkedIn is the most used B2B platform in the world. People are on there. It's a social media platform like all the others, but it's different in that it's there for business. It's there for professionals. It's there to build connections and for you and for everybody to network. The people on LinkedIn are already in the mindset of let's do business and let's build these connections that will enhance our business. So just being on there, you're already ahead in the conversation that you need to have with these people. LinkedIn is useful for building your brand and marketing your business and products. We know that. But it's also really good for lead generation, and it's really good for building connections and networks. Just to give you an example of some of the groups and networks and industry bodies that are out there that you can connect with specifically for business events. This is just a list of them. There's far more. Of course, the number one body that you need to follow and to connect with is NT Business Events. But yeah, these are all the people. This is just an example of all the people that you need to be having conversations with. I'm just going to go quickly through a couple of best practices for your business on LinkedIn. You can have personal LinkedIn profiles, so that's for you as an individual, and you can have a LinkedIn business page. You should be using both of these just because they work slightly differently on LinkedIn. You're able to make some connections as an individual and other connections as a business, especially when you're using LinkedIn groups. That's when you need to use your individual profile. When you're setting up your business profile, you need to remember that it's a digital representation of your business. It is an opportunity to showcase everything that you do and what you're about as impactfully as possible and really as quickly as possible. I'm just going to skip ahead and come back to show you an example of how you can do this. So if you look at these two examples, they've got cover images that with lots of text in them, which is counterintuitive when it comes to social media, but it does help on LinkedIn. It helps explain everything that you're about. The descriptions of who they are and what they do are extremely succinct and specific, and they're great for SEO as well. So when people are searching for stuff, for example, expert in SEO or expert in business events, these things will show up. You gotta have an interesting and compelling picture, and you've got to be overall professional. But there's just a lot that you can do with your profile to make sure that people click through from it, whether it's into your website or whether it's into your connections or whether it's to download something like a form that you want them to fill. So yeah, it's important that you optimize your LinkedIn profile. It's important that you have an impactful headline that people know very quickly and instantly what you're about and what you're pitching or selling. When it comes to posting and creating content, there are 3 types of content that do really well on LinkedIn. And again, here the difference between LinkedIn and other social media platforms is you don't have to compete for attention with memes and jokes and silly forwards. Here it's serious and it's about business. So there are 3 types of content, and there's loads of other types, obviously, but the 3 that do really well are thought leadership. So are you an expert in the business that you're in, on the category that you're in? And do you have a vision? Do you have opinions that can push your industry or your space forward? Another type of content is your employees advocating for the company that they work for, or even just you posting about your employees and everything that's going on, essentially showcasing what happens with your business on a day-to-day basis. And another great type of content, obviously, is customer testimonials, especially when you're talking about something, when you're pitching your business to vendors for business events. They want to see that you've already done, or you've had the experience and you've provided a good experience to people who've chosen you for their business events or for their activities around their business events. When it comes to how often you should post, that really is variable and it depends on you and your business. But a rule of thumb is anywhere between 2 to 5 times a week, once a day. More than once a day on LinkedIn, you're gonna start cannibalizing what reach you have for the first post. You need to create relevant content, relevant to what you're trying to achieve. So you need to show your potential customers why you're a good fit for their business event or for activities around their business event. There's a standard-ish sort of formula which for LinkedIn, which is the 5-3-2 formula. So you want to share 5 posts. Out of every 10 posts, you want 5 of those need to be shared posts. Other thought leaders or other industry leaders who've posted interesting content, you can share that. You want to have 3 original content posts that you have created, stuff that's coming from you directly, and then 2 less serious, fun posts, still definitely related to your business or your industry or the destination that you're representing. On LinkedIn, you're there to make connections. And there's many ways you can do that. You can invite people to follow you or your pages. You can follow other people and their pages. You can join groups. When people post, you can comment, you can share. And you need to be actively managing and monitoring all the reactions to your posts and your content. Make sure that if someone replies or leaves a comment, that you reply to them. Now, tagging, again, since LinkedIn is all about connections, tagging is a really important part of that. What tagging is essentially calling out someone or in a positive way, or mentioning someone in a positive way on the platform. It helps with engagement, it helps with networking, so it helps make connections between people that you know or people that know people that you know, et cetera, et cetera. When you post new content and you want to disseminate that content as far as possible, sometimes you want to tag people. Of course, that needs to be relevant. You need to be tagging people who are either mentioned in the content or who this might be of interest, or your content might be of interest to them. And sometimes it's about professional recognition. So praising someone or acknowledging that someone has done something interesting or done something or achieved something. And there are multiple tagging opportunities that LinkedIn offers, a bit more so than other social media networks. So you can do it in a post, you can do it in a comment, in a LinkedIn message, and in a LinkedIn group. Just to clarify, tagging is simply just you type the @ sign in front of someone's name and then you type out their name. Sometimes you will be able to tag people, sometimes you won't. That kind of varies across LinkedIn, just depending on the connections that you have and the privacy settings that that person has. Just as a policy, though, it is useful to make sure that you're tagging people whenever you're posting, creating, sharing, commenting. So that was LinkedIn. I will send out after this a more detailed document about LinkedIn and with links to all of the stuff that I talked about that will probably give you a bit more detail. The next part of the process really is using email for your marketing. Email marketing is just a great opportunity to get the word out again to as many people as possible. But it needs to be done right. A lot of people, you get a lot of emails in your inbox, and that's great. But out of 100 of those, you probably delete 50 of those. You ignore 30 of those, and you delete and you open maybe 5. So it's important that you have some sort of coherent strategy when you're sending out your emails. So number one, what you need to do is you need to have pretty clear goals as to why you're using email marketing. Your goals can be varied, really. They can be about making sure that you get information out there about a new product or a new launch. It can just be constant updates to keep your email subscriber base engaged, just so you're always top of mind with them. Or it could be to drive conversions or sales. So for example, you have some specific promotion or discount, and you want to get the word out there. The second step is to build your email marketing list. There's many ways you can do that, but it's essentially asking people to leave their email address or either on your website, on a form that they can click through from social media posts. And this has become even more important now, simply because of the whole thing that's going to be happening with cookies and advertising and digital advertising and all of that. That's a longer conversation. Suffice it to say that it's important that you do everything you can to consistently add to your email subscriber list. Every post, but not every post, but as often as possible on your social media, you need to be asking people to leave their email addresses. You need to have a prominent space on your website asking people to leave their email addresses. When you're doing events, you need to have some sort of mechanism to capture email addresses. All of that is important. Once you have that database, you want to select the type of email campaign that you want to send. Is it a newsletter? Is it a bulletin? Or there's many different types of email campaigns that you can run. For example, you could have automated campaigns that are triggered by someone doing something on your website or doing something on your social media. So you need to be clear about the kind of email campaign you want to run. The next step is then creating your email marketing campaign and sending it out. And finally, you want to measure the results of that email campaign, right? There's many different metrics by which you can measure the success of an email campaign. These are 7 of them. Number 1 is open rate. That is, out of 100 emails that you send out, how many of those were opened by the person who received them? I have on the right-hand side, you'll see suggested percentages and rates. That's indicative. It kind of varies from business to business and industry to industry. Click-through rate. Out of all of those emails that were opened, how many had people click on a link in that email? As you can see, that rate goes down really quickly. It's 2 to 5%. So out of 100 mails you send, on average, if about 28% of those, 17 to 28% of those get open, only about 2 or 3 will actually click through on them. There's stuff like the click to open rate, which is how many people click through after they've opened. There's bounce rate. So you want to see how many of those emails that you're sending out actually get to the persons you're sending them through. That is dependent really on how well you maintain your email database. Some of them may be old emails, and it also kind of depends on the service you're using. Some services are better for that, some are not. Then there's the spam complaint rate. No business can get that down to 0. There's always going to be people who complain and mark your newsletter as spam. You want to keep that as low as possible. Similarly, no business can avoid people unsubscribing from them. Again, you want to aim to keep that as low as possible. And then you want to look at your total active subscriber list, and you want to constantly be growing that. And the last thing in email marketing best practices is you want to fine tune your strategy, right? So for example, if you have a database of 1,000 emails, you want to segment that database and figure out, can you segment them into different audiences? For example, drive market customers who you may have got from an event that you did, a caravan and camping event that you might have done, or younger,
Business events.
yeah, or emails from another business event. And why segmenting them helps is because you're able to tailor your communication for different audiences. If you're talking to an uh, older, say, gray nomad audience, your communication, your language, what you're offering will be very different from what you're offering and how you speak to an audience that is maybe younger, that is spending less time in the territory, that might be at a different price point. Then the other thing you want to look at is, when are you sending your emails? First of all, you need to be sending them when people are at their desks, as much as possible. Just because if you send them, for example, in the night and they wake up to your email is going to be among 20, 30, 40, 50 other emails, and um, it may not get the recognition that it deserves, or the attention that it deserves, rather. Also, you want to think about the time of week that you're sending out emails. If, for example, you're talking about business, then you want to send it during the business week. However, if you're talking about a product that is a leisure product and you're sending it out to retail customers, then you probably want to look at Wednesdays, midweek, or weekends, when people are more interested in that kind of information. It's really, really important that you have a compelling subject line in your email, something that helps it stand out from all the other emails that people are receiving, something that makes people either want to click or that they're forced to click on, right? Just because, again, you're competing with hundreds of other mails in their inbox. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that with all of the new tools that are out there, you do not need to wait to send out email campaigns and email blasts. You can automate those. You can automate them to be sent out either on a weekly basis or whatever periodical basis you need. You can even automate them to be sent out based on certain triggers. So when someone completes an action, so for example, when someone leaves an email on your website, you can send out a welcome email to them. If someone looks at a specific section on your website, you can send out an email to them that says, thanks for coming to our website. Here's more information if you need it. Excuse me. Every newsletter needs to have a clear call to action. You need to ask people to do something. Either click on a link to get more information, download something so that they have something of yours that they can keep and recall when you need them to. You need to be looking at your analytics. You need to be looking at those metrics that we just spoke about to understand how well your campaign is doing and what changes you need to make. You need to constantly be tweaking it, whether it's headlines, whether it's the content, whether it's length, whether it's the time you're sending those emails out. All of that is stuff that you'll be able to figure out over time, and you need to constantly be testing and changing those things. Speaking of testing, send out an email. If you have 1,000 subscribers, send out one email with one headline to 300 subscribers, send out another one with another headline to another 300, see which one works better. And over time, that will give you data to help you understand what works. You want to optimize for mobile, that's fairly obvious. But again, just make sure that your email, when someone opens it up, it looks good on mobile. It's easy to click on. It's easy for them to get as much information as possible. Really, what you want to be keeping in mind is that the screen is smaller and there's only so much information that you can put in there before people get tired of scrolling. And the last thing I would suggest is, everyone loves finding out about an offer or a promotion or a sale as much as possible. You probably can't do it every time, but as much as possible, you want to include that in your newsletter, or sorry, in your email. Yeah, I think do I have anything else? Yeah, and here's just a quick example of some of the tools that are available. There's many more. Each one of them, all of them will do the basics, which is send out your emails to a subscriber list. But each one of them has their own strengths and weaknesses. Some of them are good at managing your databases. A service like HubSpot, for example, is email. The email blast is just one thing that it does. It also offers a lot of other stuff around customer relationship management. And then there's also the question of cost. Some of these services will charge you one fee for an X number of emails to send out emails to a set number of subscribers. Others will charge you per subscriber, and they all have different price points. So it's really kind of what works for you and what you need. MailChimp is the industry leader. Yes, it's the most famous, but it's worth looking at some of the others. One that's not included in yours, Klaviyo, which I've used, which is really good again for maintaining that database. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Shawn. And out of curiosity, if somebody wanted to have assistance setting up a LinkedIn profile, is that something you could help with, or is there, I know we know of resources, but any suggestion on?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I should have said that.
No?
Number one, I will be sending out a document which goes into detail on all of these things, including how to set up your profile, but also all of this plus a lot more in digital marketing can be covered in one-to-one sessions that we do with the digital coach program. That link is higher up in this presentation under my name. You can click on that link, understand what our digital coach program is all about, how we at Tourism Top End can help you as our members enhance your digital marketing. And you can set up a one-on-one session, book an appointment. And we can do email marketing and just LinkedIn and lots more.
Thanks, Shawn. That was so good. I definitely learned a lot sitting here myself. Really good just to have a recap and looking at the industry, and we'll share once again all that information, including how to link in with the digital coach program. For everybody that has gone through the digital coach program, I've found a lot of businesses giving incredibly positive feedback. So, and sometimes, we have these workshops and we uncover a lot of the theory, but this one-on-one support is really where the team at TTE get to tailor the support for your individual business. So, do we have any questions over to the room online, or?
Can I just say one
Yeah.
thing? So, in regards to participation at trade shows, we want to tag you and we want to tag your company profile. So we have a good following, which is always growing. So that's company profile is key for that. We don't post to an individual or tag an individual profile. So please, even for award wins, like we shout it from the rooftops, we want to share that information. So thank you.
Brilliant. Awesome. So thank you everyone for joining us online in the room. This is the last workshop of our 5-part series. I also want to give a massive shout out to Gemma and Michelle. Without the two of those ladies, these workshops wouldn't happen. Michelle coordinates all the online organisation of getting everybody in to register and coming together, and Gemma's been amazing being in the room, making sure she's monitoring the chats and all the in-house stuff. So thank you everyone for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed the series of workshops, and hopefully we get to do something like this again in the new financial year. Thank you everybody. Bye.